Bizarre Brain Comics.
Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I'm Gary, your host, and this time we're going to have another look at It Came from the Top Shelf. This is part 2. As I mentioned before, I had recently had to replace a shelf unit and take the books off, put books back on, and so I took a handful of comic books from the top shelf and showed you those before. Here's another handful from that top shelf. Just a handful of various books, various ages, various publishers, etc. It's just a dozen books here. And we start looking at this. It's Marvel Comics What The? Number 22 from 1992. And this was a humor book that Marvel had published for about 3 years or so in the early 90s, which I really enjoyed. And it's humor, but it's a little like early EC's Mad, in that it was all self-referential. Poking fun at and doing parodies of their own comics. So you pretty almost had to be a Marvel Comics reader to appreciate a lot of the humor in these, and I think a lot of the Marvel readers got a kick out of it all the time. But this time, see here, she's on the cover. Here's Wolverine and Punisher, or it's Wolverine and the Pulverizer, as they show them here. Some great humor, and this issue even has a Peter Porker Spider-Ham story in it, and Spider-Ham had previously had his own title back in the 80s, and he'd still pop up once in a while. But it has you can see the parody humor, stuff like that, and this had at this time. The Punisher and Wolverine were extremely popular, and they were making the rounds, having guest appearances in almost every title. It helped boost sales, and they're poking fun at that in this particular story, where they wind up in Barbie and some fuzzy animal stuff, and they're griping about that. It's just some silly fun. Then we come back to this was. Dell Comics Jungle Jim from 1955. I don't remember which issue this is. And of course, if you're not familiar, Jungle Jim was a comic strip character. And then it had, of course, in the 50s, had 40s and 50s, had a series of movies and a TV series starring Johnny Weissmuller, when he got a little too old and just a little bit too fleshy for Tarzan. And of course, the comic strip ran for decades. That was not Alex Raymond. Was it Alex Raymond? I can't remember. But this is not a reprinting of the strip. These were all original stories and art for the comics. Many publishers have had that. Then we have here Hong Kong Phooey, Hanna-Barbera's Hong Kong Phooey. And you may, depending on your age, you may not be familiar with Hong Kong Phooey. It was a Saturday morning cartoon feature from Hanna-Barbera, animated series. And Charlton Comics had the license at the time for... this is from, I think it was 77, was it? And they had the license for many Hanna-Barbera properties. And it's just some goofy fun. Hong Kong Phooey was it was a combination of funny animal, superhero, and kung fu craze. So combined all of those into Hong Kong Phooey. He's just a dog who's a janitor by day and puts on a mask and fights crime with kung fu at night. Then we have here, this cover is paying homage to the very first Mad issue of Mad Comics. This is from Kitchen Sink. Maud. Humanoids in the jungle, eh? And this is from 81, I think it was. Is right at the end of what you could consider original, actual underground comic period. But that's what it is. Even though it's Mad, it's some underground and parody stuff. It has some Terry Beatty work in it, who is better known for his work at primarily DC and other independent publishers. Then we go back to I think it was 66 or 67, DC Comics, Tomahawk and his Rip Roaring Rangers, number 113. Of course, this is Western-style adventure taking place during... What the heck is this? Oh, somebody put a sticker on right there in the A. I didn't notice that before. This is... and it takes place during the American Revolution. And they have some standard action-adventure wartime fare. And then they're also filled with... Occasionally have some really off-the-wall stuff like dinosaurs and giant apes and other weird things. I've done a couple of Tomahawk on here before, and it's just good fun. This is a newer book. I don't remember. This is just from a couple years ago, I think. Comic Book History of Animation, Part 1, Silent but Deadly. This is... I hate variant covers. This is variant B from IDW, and it is just that, describing in comic book format the history of animation from its inception. And then here, it actually had 3 issues right here. This is DC Special Presents. These are 3 issues. This is the Three Musketeers. It has 22, 24, and 25. So I missed one in there. And DC Special was just, they threw in whatever was not consistent, but they had a series of these stories is featuring the Three Musketeers and Robin Hood. Now the Three Musketeers stories in these, each issue had a different creative team. So I think there was no consistency with that. And but the Three Musketeer stories were brand new for this edition. And then it was followed up by Robin Hood and the Viking Prince stories, backup stories, reprinting from the 1950s. And of course, in the 70s, they had the Three Musketeers and Four Musketeers movies. Very successful, very popular, and I think they picked up on them. This is from about 76 or so. Even though they're not associated with it, they were public domain characters. And this has, like I said, various teams on the Three Musketeers. Then with great Russ Heath work on the Robin Hood, and Joe Kubert doing Viking Prince. I did this one, the Robin Hood story. I think it was last year at the Renaissance Festival, and but I think that particular one was drawn by Joe Kubert as well. Some really great action adventure of an historical nature stories. Lots of fun. And then here we have, this is from, I think, 78, I think it was. Could be 77. Turok, Son of Stone. This is like issue 54, something like that. No, I take that back. 112, I think is what it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Turok, Son of Stone, of course, to the American Indians, lost in Lost Valley, which is filled with dinosaurs and cavemen and stuff, and a good adventure dinosaur-y type fare. And I loved this. And then, of course, in the 90s, Valiant acquired many of the gold key characters, and they just ruined them. They turned Turok, Son of Stone into Dinosaur Hunter, which I guess is probably their most popular character. They had video games based on it, which is most people are probably most familiar with it, which had machine guns and stuff, and this is some really stupid stuff. Then we have Aquaman number 3. This is from about 92, 93, 94, somewhere along in there, from that particular series run. It's a beautifully drawn cover. I can't remember his name. The interior art is a little different. This is Ken Hooper did the interior art, and is a little different. It's very nice, and in some ways it really reminds me of the artwork of Al McWilliams, who I've mentioned several times before here. And then we go to finish up with DC Nation Super Spectacular from 2012. This is for DC characters, but of course in conjunction with Cartoon Network, and it's just featuring comic stories in the style of, and featuring characters that they have animated shows for. Here's Young Justice, and then they, at the time, they had, for just a couple of years, had a Green Lantern show. That was computer generated program, and it has some little games and feature stuff, and it's really pushing, even though they don't have a story, it's pushing you can't see right there. There it is. Plastic Man. Crazy Fun from Plastic Man, which I guess was just starting that particular series. So, that's all I've got to share with you this time here on Bizarre Brain Comics. It came from the top shelf. Please like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment. Which books did you like best? Ooh, have you ever seen this? And this is the only issue of this I ever got. I don't know if they ever had any more. And remember, comics are art.